Noon, at the Tianxian garden. Natasha Harmon was sipping tea with Uncle Dong. Natasha, do you still remember our bet? It's been 3 days, and I'm still perfectly fine. Isn't it time for you to honor your promise? Uncle Dong asked with a grin after taking a sip. Uncle Dong, what's the rush? There's still half a day left until the full 3 days. Natasha replied calmly. Ha, don't tell me you actually believe that little con artist? Uncle Dong chuckled. I've practiced martial arts for years. Don't I know my own body? Look at me. Do I look sick to you? Whether you do or not, I trust Dustin's judgment, Natasha said with a faint smile. Humph. I don't know what kind of spell that con artist cast on you, but I don't get how you trust him so much, Uncle Dong said, clearly puzzled. Who knows? Maybe it's fate, Natasha murmured, the corners of her lips rising slightly at the thought of Dustin. In any case, we still have half a day. If you're still fine by nightfall, I'll admit defeat. Fine. I'll give you half a day more. When the time comes, I'll let you see that con artist's true colors with your own eyes. With that, Uncle Dong stood up and left with his bodyguards. Once he was outside and got into the car, one of his trusted guards couldn't help but speak. Boss, I really don't get it. Miss Natasha is such an outstanding woman. How could she fall for that con artist? This woman's actions never follow logic, Uncle Dong said, annoyed. Find a chance to investigate that kid named Dustin. I want to know where he comes from. Yes, sir, the bodyguard replied and started the car. As the car moved along, Uncle Dong leaned back and closed his eyes to rest, as he usually did. But after a moment, he suddenly felt a stabbing pain in his chest. At first, he didn't think much of it. However, as time passed, the pain grew worse, more intense and harder to endure. It felt like a knife was twisting inside his chest. Even with his tough personality, he found himself gasping from the pain. No way. Could that little bastard have been right? Sweat poured down Uncle Dong's face as he clutched his chest. Boss, what's wrong? The bodyguard quickly asked, noticing something was off. Quick! Take me back to Tianxian Garden. Uncle Dong couldn't take it anymore and urgently ordered the car to turn around. The driver floored it, and soon they were back at Tianxian Garden. Uncle Dong, what's the rush? Couldn't hold it in anymore? Natasha raised an eyebrow at his sweat-drenched face. Hold it in. Can't you see my boss is in pain? The bodyguard snapped. HM? And who gave you permission to speak here? Natasha's cold gaze swept over him, instantly silencing the guard as if plunging him into an ice cave. Natasha! My chest hurts. Call that con artist over and have him treat me, Uncle Dong said, grimacing. Uncle Dong, looks like Dustin was right. You were bound to fall ill within 3 days. So calling him a con artist doesn't quite fit anymore, Natasha said indifferently. Fine, fine. He's not a con artist, I misspoke. Now can you call him over? Uncle Dong gritted his teeth. Uncle Dong, you're the one asking for help. Don't you think inviting someone over like this lacks sincerity? Natasha said with a teasing smile. You! Uncle Dong was clearly irritated but managed to restrain himself. Where is Dustin? I'll go find him. Wait a moment, I'll call him. Natasha smiled and took out her phone. After confirming Dustin's location, she said, Peace Medical Clinic. Go! To the Peace Medical Clinic. Uncle Dong didn't dare delay. He rushed back to the car and sped toward the clinic. A trip that should have taken 30 minutes took only 15. They ran countless red lights along the way. There you are, you little brat! Uncle Dong burst into the clinic, drenched in sweat, and immediately spotted Dustin reading a book. Damn it! I'm in agony, and you're sitting there reading like it's a holiday? Uncle Dong? What brings you here? Dustin looked up, slightly surprised but quickly understood the situation. It looked like the illness had indeed manifested. Tell me! I was perfectly healthy. Why does my chest suddenly hurt like hell? Did you do something to me? Uncle Dong demanded, gritting his teeth. He'd never trusted Dustin to begin with. Now that Dustin's prediction had come true, suspicion only grew. Uncle Dong, what are you trying to say? That I harmed you? Dustin frowned, clearly displeased. Enough! I don't care what you did, just treat me already! Uncle Dong snapped, the pain in his chest becoming unbearable. What the hell are you standing there for? Get over here right now! If my boss's condition gets worse, you'll be sorry! the bodyguard shouted. Hearing that, Dustin's expression turned cold. They came begging for help but acted so high and mighty? Who did they think they were? With that kind of attitude, go find someone else. I'm not treating him, Dustin said flatly. What did you just say? Uncle Dong froze, then his face turned fierce. You punk! I came here because of Natasha's sake. Don't push your luck. Oh, really? Dustin sneered. Let me be honest. I only called you Uncle Dong out of respect for Miss Harmon. Otherwise, who the hell do you think you are? And get this straight, you came to me for help, not the other way around. So now, get lost. Hearing what Dustin said, everyone froze for a moment. No one expected him to be this arrogant, completely disregarding them. You brat! Do you even know what you're saying? Wang Dong gritted his teeth, his face twisted in pain. Even beyond the small city of Swinton, he was still a well-known figure throughout the southern province. Yet now, a mere pretty boy dared speak to him like that? Unbelievable arrogance. I know exactly what I'm saying. But you clearly haven't realized how serious your condition is. I'm the only one who can cure your illness, Dustin said coldly. Kid! Just because you know a few street tricks, you think you're some miracle doctor? Before I lose my temper, you better know your place. Wang Dong shouted. That's right. If you don't treat my boss, I'll cripple you today, the bodyguard threatened. Cripple me? Go ahead and try. Dustin sneered. Fine. You'll only cry when you see the coffin. The bodyguard lost his temper, suddenly lunging forward with a powerful punch aimed straight at Dustin's face. The punch was swift, precise, and strong, clearly trained for years. Humph! Dustin reacted even faster, swinging his palm backward and sending the bodyguard flying several meters. The man's face was deformed from the blow, and he passed out cold without even groaning. What? Wang Dong's expression darkened. He hadn't expected Dustin to be a trained fighter. His bodyguards were far from average, yet Dustin took one out with a single slap. Clearly, he had some serious martial arts skills. You brat! You really don't know your place. Just as Wang Dong was preparing to personally teach Dustin a lesson, a car suddenly arrived. It was Natasha Harmon's. What's going on here? Natasha walked over gracefully, her expression cold and commanding. Even though she didn't yet know the situation, she instinctively stood by Dustin's side. Natasha! That brat is unbelievably arrogant. Not only did he refuse to treat me, but he also dared to attack my men. Tell me, how should we handle this? Wang Dong asked aggressively. Uncle Dong, if your men hadn't provoked him first, I don't believe Dustin would have acted. So in my opinion, your man deserved that beating, Natasha replied firmly. What? Wang Dong frowned. So you're saying you're going to defend him today? Of course. Natasha lifted her chin. Dustin is my friend. If you have a problem, take it up with me. Humph. You're going to turn on me for some outsider? Have you thought about how you'll explain this to your parents? Wang Dong shouted. How I explain it is my business. No need for you to worry. Natasha remained indifferent. But Uncle Dong, you do look like you're in quite a bit of pain. I think you'd better get your illness treated before it's too late. Fine, very well. Let's go. With a glare, Wang Dong stormed off. Natasha's attitude had completely caught him off guard. Considering her background, he didn't want to escalate this situation, so he had no choice but to back down. You helping me like this, won't it cause you trouble? Dustin asked suddenly. Though he wasn't afraid of Wang Dong, he still appreciated Natasha's support. Trouble? Natasha smiled. Back in the day, they used to call me the Black Widow. When I eat people, not even bones are left. You think this little thing counts for anything? You're that fierce? Dustin raised an eyebrow. Of course. Want to see for yourself? How? Heh. Natasha gave him a seductive smile, leaned close to his ear, and whispered with breathy charm. Come to my room tonight. I'll give you a personal demonstration. And to top it off, she bit her lip flirtatiously. Absolutely enchanting. The corner of Dustin's eye twitched. He could only pretend he didn't hear it. This woman really had no filter. Meanwhile, Wang Dong, now in unbearable chest pain, rushed to the hospital. Hurry! Get a doctor! At the bodyguard shouting, a group of doctors quickly rushed to the emergency room to treat him. However, after running a full set of tests, they were stunned. Wang Dong's body was completely healthy, with no abnormalities. Sir, are you sure you're having chest pain? One of the doctors asked. Are you saying I'm faking it? Wang Dong snapped. Damn it! He was nearly convulsing in pain. How could that be fake? Well, we really can't find the cause. Maybe try another hospital? Useless fools! Cursing, Wang Dong turned and left. Next, he rushed to 2 other well-known hospitals, only to be told the same thing. His body was perfectly healthy, with nothing wrong at all. What the hell? Is this some kind of dark magic? Clutching his chest, pale-faced and drenched in cold sweat, Wang Dong was on the verge of collapse. Even worse, the pain only continued to intensify with time, seemingly endless. Though he had practiced martial arts for years and had a strong will, the unbearable chest pain was too much. At this rate, he might actually lose his mind. Boss, the hospitals can't help. What now? Seeing him in such agony, the bodyguards started to panic. Could it be that only that kid can cure me? Recalling what Dustin had said earlier, Wang Dong clenched his teeth and finally gave in. Take me to the Peace Clinic. Ask that kid for help. The bodyguards didn't dare delay and quickly drove Wang Dong over. This time, however, they had no arrogance left. Well, isn't this Uncle Dong? What brings you back so soon? Seeing Wang Dong enter, Natasha, who had been waiting, stood up with a smile. Natasha, I was too impulsive earlier and said some nonsense. Please don't take it to heart. Can you ask Dustin to treat me? Wang Dong forced a smile. Uncle Dong, I'm not the one you need to talk to. You'll have to ask Dustin yourself. Natasha glanced behind her, clearly passing the decision to him. At that moment, Dustin was sitting leisurely, reading a book, completely ignoring the group. Cough, Brother Dustin, I'm truly sorry. I was in so much pain earlier that I lost control of my words. I hope you won't take it personally. I'm here to apologize. Wang Dong cupped his hands in a respectful gesture, choosing to yield. Seeing that Dustin didn't respond, he quickly added, Brother Dustin, as long as you're willing to help, all the precious medicinal herbs in my collection, feel free to take your pick. Only then did Dustin finally look up. Dustin had no interest in gold or treasure. But when it came to rare spiritual herbs, those were exactly what he needed most right now. Old Drunkard's health was deteriorating day by day. He likely wouldn't last a year. Dustin had to gather the remaining 5 spiritual herbs as soon as possible in order to cure him. I'm very picky about herbs. The stuff you've got stashed away might not be of any use to me, Dustin finally said. No matter what herbs you need, I'll find them for you. Wang Dong promised immediately. Do you have xianshu fruit? Dustin asked. No. Wang Dong shook his head. Blood crystal flower? Don't have that either. What about 7-color Ganoderma? Little brother Dustin, I've never even heard of the herbs you're naming. Wang Dong said bitterly. You've at least heard of 500-year-old ginseng and the millennium-old blue lotus, haven't you? Dustin squinted. Yes. I've heard of those 2 herbs. Wang Dong nodded quickly. Although both were priceless treasures, at least they were known. So, do you have them? Dustin pressed. I don't know where to find a millennium blue lotus, but I can get you the 500-year-old ginseng. It'll just take a few days, Wang Dong said. All right, then come back when you've got the ginseng. Dustin waved him off. Wait, Brother Dustin! The pain in my chest is unbearable. I really can't hold on any longer. Please help me first. I swear I'll bring the ginseng in a few days. Wang Dong panicked. Dustin didn't reply immediately. Instead, he looked at Natasha Harmon beside him. He didn't trust Wang Dong's character. What if he went back on his word after being cured? Natasha, help me talk to him. You know I always keep my word. Wang Dong pleaded. I know Uncle Dong's character, Natasha replied thoughtfully. But just 1 ginseng? That's a bit lacking. What else do you need? I'll try to meet all your demands. Wang Dong quickly caught on. They were trying to drive up the price. But at the moment, he had no room to bargain. Uncle Dong, I heard you own quite a few properties in Swinton. That Cloud Top Hotel of yours is especially nice. Why don't you gift it to Dustin? Natasha said with a half-smile. What? Wang Dong's mouth twitched. Damn it, the Cloud Top Hotel was his most profitable business. Selling it could easily fetch hundreds of millions. This woman was asking for the moon. What's the matter? Uncle Dong not willing? Natasha raised an eyebrow. I'm willing. As long as little brother Dustin can save my life, what's a hotel in comparison? Wang Dong forced out a smile. When under someone's roof, you have to lower your head. Dustin, since Uncle Dong is being so sincere, why don't you help him out? Natasha turned back and winked. Fine. Dustin nodded, then pulled out a dark pill and tossed it to Wang Dong. Swallow this, and you'll basically be fine. What's this? Wang Dong frowned at the dung-colored pill. A few $100 million for this piece of junk? You don't have to eat it if you don't trust it. Dustin said calmly. I trust you. Gritting his teeth, Wang Dong swallowed it. Regardless of whether it worked, it was worth a try. The pill melted in his mouth, and soon a warm current spread throughout his body. As it surged through him, the pain in his chest gradually eased. In just a few minutes, the stabbing agony was miraculously gone. It actually worked? Wang Dong was both stunned and delighted. He touched himself all over, and only after repeatedly confirming did he breathe a long sigh of relief. Well, Uncle Dong? Satisfied with Dustin's medical skills? Natasha smirked with pride. After all, this was the man she had her eye on. I can't believe such a small pill could be so miraculous. Wang Dong's eyes gleamed. Little brother Dustin, what's this pill called? Can I buy a few more from you at a high price? It's called the Golden Crow Pill, a secret formula. Because the ingredients are so rare, I only had the one. Dustin said plainly. No problem. Just sell me the recipe. Wang Dong persisted. As a pharmaceutical tycoon himself, he understood the immense value of such a miraculous pill. If mass-produced, it would be wildly profitable. I already said it's a secret formula, so I can't sell it. Dustin said, then added, but if you can find another rare spiritual herb, I'll give you the recipe for free. This? Wang Dong looked troubled. Getting his hands on the 500-year-old ginseng was already a stretch, let alone the even rarer Millennium Blue Lotus. As for Xianzhu fruit, blood crystal flower, or seven-color Ganoderma, he hadn't even heard of them, let alone know where to start looking. Uncle Dong, no rush. Once we get the ginseng, we can talk slowly, Natasha said with a smile, Natasha rubbing her flat belly. Suddenly I feel a little hungry. Why don't we go have a meal at your cloud-top restaurant? And while we're at it, transfer the hotel. Wang Dong's eye twitched. This woman really was in a hurry. Though it pained him, he could only nod. After all, he couldn't go back on his word now. So after a brief chat, the group got into a car and headed to the Cloud-Top Hotel. The hotel was located by Mingyang Lake, an excellent location. Its most famous feature was the Cloud-Top restaurant on the top floor. It offered a sweeping view of half of Swinton, especially at night, when the scenery was absolutely stunning. With high-end service and gourmet dishes, it attracted a regular clientele of wealthy and influential people. It only served VIPs. Regular folks couldn't get in. Once inside the Cloud-Top restaurant, Dustin and his group chose a private room, ordered a few signature dishes, and began to enjoy their meal. Meanwhile, at the hotel entrance, a Mercedes-Benz van slowly came to a stop. Out stepped Florence and her party. Matt, I'm telling you, this Cloud-Top restaurant is a great place. You've helped us so much. We have to treat you to dinner tonight. Dahlia is on her way. Let's head in first, Florence said, leading Matt Laney and James inside. But when the trio reached the top-floor restaurant, they were stopped by a server. Sorry, we can't let you in, the server said politely. What? Not allowed in? James scowled. Do you know who I am? How dare you block me? Aren't you in business to serve customers? Why not let us in? Who do you think you are looking down on? Florence said angrily. We only serve VIP clients, the server replied courteously. So what? We'll just sign up for one. Florence snorted. Would you like a regular VIP or a premium VIP? The server smiled. Of course the premium one. Do we look like people who can't afford it? James said arrogantly. That's right. If we're signing up, we're going big. Florence pulled out her card. Matt Laney stood quietly beside them. This was not the time to lose face. Very well. A premium VIP requires a deposit of $5 million. The server replied with a continued smile. $5 million? Both Florence and James were stunned. Florence, especially, instantly withdrew the card she had just presented.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end. and yet you promised to never leave. And now you're gone, can't believe. I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. Staying in my imagination, memorizing the past time, the secrets, the love, the care. Now they're echoes in the air. I still see